Okay, so now we're going to cover how to put it all together. And here's my camera in the top view up here. This is my camera. This is the path that it's on. I've moved my lights out a little bit so they encompass the entire scene. And we will get to this, but just so this is a little more interesting and you can see what I'm talking about, so it's not just animating the same thing over and over. I animated this little character jumping from uh, platform to platform. Okay? So when I play this in the bottom down here, I'm going to come down here and hit the play animation button right here. Make sure it's low enough that you guys can see it. I realize my camera. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so right here, this button, play animation. When I hit play animation, watch the top up there. And you see the camera is moving along the path while the target is locked on the character. Okay? So now if I reset this and I go back to my perspective quadrant, make sure that I'm on my walkthrough camera. And now when I play this out, you will see through the camera in the scene. And he's hopping, and then he falls in the lava. Okay, I just did that very quickly, so it's not the most graceful sweeping motions. It's just a quick hop, hop, hop to set up the animation. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to come up here to my render setup button. Production render mode, scanline renderer, quad 4, walkthrough camera. I've already got save file checked, and the file that I had created was this one, which is an AVI. And do I want to override it? And I'm going to say yes, because the one I had there before wasn't anything I want to keep. I'm going to make sure my time output has my active time segment 0 to 300. You can animate less in that range area, but for this I want the active time segment. I want to render the whole thing. And then I'm going with the default, the 640 by 480. I'm going to render that out. Okay, and so I'm going to hit the render button. Yes, I'm overriding that. Okay, and so then you're going to see that the dialog box begins to show me what's going on in terms of time. So it's showing me that it's what frame it's on out of the 301 frames that I have. And it's giving me an elapsed time. Sometimes when it takes a long time, it will tell you how long the last frame took. Here it's going so fast that it's not calculating that. Elapsed time, how long has passed. And then this should say estimated time remaining, because that's all it is an estimate. And you'll watch it. It initially calculates based on the first render, and then it starts making adjustments based on subsequent renders, and it tries to calculate how long it's going to take. It's never an exact science, it's just a rough estimate. Okay, so according to this, we've got roughly 3 minutes and 20 something seconds left. And then it will show you your render settings. You know, this is the viewport. Here's the size. It's saying on the end time. And we can see, whenever you're having problems, we can see in here how to maybe troubleshoot. Output settings, if there's not a file name here, then it means I'm not saving it. So make sure there is one. And you want to look at these just while it's rendering out, just to catch it. So that way, if you see any problems with it, you can stop it. This is kind of interesting. There's some interesting things, just data. And then under your scanline renderer, shadows, yes. If for some reason your shadows are not rendering out, then this might say no, and therefore you would know what the problem is. So whenever you're having issues, you want to start to problem solve, take a look at your render settings, okay? That might help you find the answer. All right, so this is now going to go through, and what it is doing is it's created a kind of like a filing cabinet or a folder. And each time it does a single image render, it puts it in the folder in order, in subsequent order. And then it treats it, when it plays it back to us, it flashes these images in front of our eyes so quickly that it gives the illusion of movement. So it's a giant flip book, really. It's an electronic flip book. I mean, I don't know how else other to describe it, since most everybody's seen a flip book or created a flip book. So you can see what it does is it's going to take each one of these still images based on our keyframes, right? We set up keyframes, we told it what we wanted it to do, and it's going in and it's right now doing what we talked about earlier, is the tweening. It's filling in all the frames in between the keyframes so that when these all get put together and play back, it gives the illusion of movement. And it is just an illusion. But what that means though is if for some reason you're in the middle of an animation and you cancel it or close it or the power goes out, it will have saved up to the point that it put that last file in. So you see right now it's in the middle. The one prior to that will have gotten put in that folder and saved. And so you will have a partial document. So that might make you feel better about the fact that if you have access to Premiere Pro, you could just render out, go back in and render out, say it stopped at 250. I could pick back up at 250 and just render that range from 250 to 300 and not lose the time of the first 250 frames that I rendered out. And that's a really nice thing to have, especially when we're constantly working against deadlines or on deadlines. So what this will do very shortly is it will close, and then I will go open the folder and play it back and show you the end result. It's almost done. Okay, so now it's done, and you know because that dialog box closes. Yep, so right here what I was talking about the range. So if it closes on you and you know you only need to render out a couple of frames, you can change your range and just render out what you need. Okay, so there it is. Save pictures. So I'm going to go in that folder. And there it is. And so now I'm going to play it back. And you see it's showing me the... And it goes by very quickly. All that work. I think that's one of the most frustrating things when students first start learning this software is you put in all this work and it goes by in fractions of a second. Try that again. You see how the camera hopped with him? It was kind of cool. You don't have to have your camera exactly follow him. You can manually, excuse me, adjust the camera. But I find for the most part, it's kind of initially starting off, you want to be able to have your target follow your character. If not, you can just let's click on that. Go to the walkthrough assistant. Oh, there it is. I couldn't see it there for a second. Okay, and so say we decided that we didn't want it to... Oh, it's done it again where it's gotten rid of it. So going to my motion tab over here. And I'm going to look at target. So I'm just going to pick something in the middle. So pick target. So I'm just going to have this as my target. And then it will only show me, the only problem with that is it will only show me the character when it comes in the scene. So I might want to create something, well, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so when I play this one, And that didn't work very well, right? So that's why most of the time you want to follow the object. However, if you want to have another object maybe out here in space and move this further out. See if I can move this out. There we go. Let's change the, here we go, now we can see the character. So now this one, it's not jumping with him. But it's also a lot harder to control. Would have to make some adjustments to that to get it to work. Okay. But basically that's it. That's how you create your video from your animation. And now we're going to start talking about animating character. Okay, so that'll be in the next series of videos.